Okay.
Okay, so we have Matthew here on Long Island and Christine here in Germany, both college students. Christine, you said you're in your third year, and Matthew, you are finishing up and graduating. And yeah, it's been a transition for you, Matthew, I know. And I know, Christine, not as big of a transition because you come home because you're only an hour away from where you live. So great. So I'm Brooke. Matthew and I know each other already. So glad you're here. Christine, how did you hear about this group?
Just on Facebook. I don't know how I came about the post specifically, but I just saw it and thought I might give it a chance.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. So I'm an ADHD and executive function life coach. I work with all different ages, all different ranges. We introduced ourselves, and basically the goal of today is just to support you in managing your transition back at home, your studies, and your time. So I see you smiling. So the interesting thing for you, Christine, is you said you don't really have deadlines right now. So you know you should be studying, but you know that drive and motivation is kind of up in the air. And that I know you have some deadlines. You also don't have some deadlines. So it's mostly deadlines, but some are up in the air as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we spoke about, sharing some, advice, concerns. Do you have any anxiety about being at home right now or what's going on that just wanted to talk about in your control?
Um,
I think, I'm sorry. I
there
think
you go,
not
you go.
having, okay. So I think not having a set routine is definitely a minus of being home. Um, because when I'm at school, I'm used to like a very strict schedule, and now that I'm home, I don't really have that. So I feel like that's a pretty big minus. Um, yeah.
Sure. So you're feeling like there's a lot of loose time. So how do you set up your study schedule? How do you set up your classes? Because there's no structure right now.
Yeah, until lectures begin and like there is a strict schedule, I don't really have that. Um, I guess it's all about trying to figure that out and trying to see what works best. Um, Being in school for a few years, I do kind of have a good get estimate of what I'm really good with.
Yeah.
So
Okay. And
yeah, it's
yeah.
just about figuring that out.
And when did you get any word about when your lectures are going to start again?
Some are starting next week. Others I haven't heard about anything yet. It depends on the class, really. Each one's doing it kind of in a different way.
And Christine, did you get any word on that?
Yeah, the uni's been a bit conflicting about that. So we have exams in the end of March, beginning of April, and they're just giving different dates on like when we're going to hear about new infos, and then they're talking about different things possible for different dates of exams. So first, for example, on the 27th, they said they wouldn't take place at all. Then they said they might take place online. Then they said they might take place on a different date. So
Oh, wow.
quite
So,
a lot of conflicting info.
yeah. So where do you start from here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, with the courses I have right now, two are basically my main focus, and one of them I want to learn anyways. So I'm trying to like get motivation out of that, of just basically studying it for myself and not for the exam, and also maybe learning how to study in a more like sustainable way, and not only studying for the exam and then forgetting everything, but in a way to actually, remember it longer. So I'm trying to have that kind of as motivation to learn how to study like properly, basically. So,
I love it. I
yeah.
love it. Okay. Well, we can certainly work on strategies to break up your studying. So this way you're not cramming for that exam if and when it comes, like you said.
Yeah.
And ways and circumstances and places for you to study. Where are you quarantined right now?
No. So I was gonna say not really, but not at all. Actually, everyone's basically staying home as much as they can. But some countries in the EU are forbidding people from going out at all already, but not Germany, luckily. So if I want to go out, I can, but there's not many reasons to, unless I have to like go grocery shopping or something. So mostly at home, but not like have to be at home.
Right. So are you in an apartment, a house, townhouse?
Nice. So I have my own room here, which is still more or less furnished, and yeah, I have a kind of makeshift desk, like quite a cheap table, but it works, and an old chair, and I'm looking out the window, which is quite nice.
Good. What
Yeah.
a positive attitude.
What'd you say?
What a positive attitude.
Yeah, sure.
And Matthew, you're at home in a room as well, in a house with a window,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Great. Okay, so we'll definitely talk about creating structure, creating study schedules, and figuring out how and where to study. Does that work for you guys?
Yep.
Okay. So before we even get into any of that, let's talk about any, anxieties, concerns. We did mention it briefly, but I'm sure you've seen this before. Try to limit your exposure to media and events because it could suck us in. I know we can get distracted into the rabbit hole, and it could also make us anxious, right? So if you're going to look at the media and the social media, try to do it after you do your studies for the day. So this way it's not on your mind all day. Obviously, we talked about setting a routine. Think about waking up the same time as you would at school.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know if and when we're going to go back to school, right? But at the same time, there's this thing called summer brain, and you can get that on winter breaks, spring break, summertime. To get back into a transition of being back at school can be really difficult after being off for an extended period of time. So try to think about setting your morning routine similarly as if you were at school. Okay? Set a study schedule and figure out the ways and conditions of where you need to study. Not only is studying and creating structure for that important, but figure out a way to take care of yourself mentally and physically. And also managing your family. Okay. So, all right, in the morning, how are you guys waking up right now?
Well, I'm not actually waking up in the morning because I have quite the chaotic sleep schedule. So
Okay.
I wake up around midday, more or less.
Okay.
But I've always had quite some issues with waking up, no matter how long I sleep. Like the first half hour, I just don't want to move, and I would sell my soul to like keep on sleeping, basically. But I'm actually quite relaxed at the moment. I know it sounds weird with all the stuff going on, but just like being home and not having to go out and having like very specific goals in my studies right now. Like not a lot of things going on, but like 2 big exams to focus on. That really helps.
Okay.
So I think that helped me now, and now I'm really trying to like get up with the first ring of my alarm that I actually notice, and not like an hour of snoozing, because that just means that the entire day I'm just kind of half awake and quite dizzy and not great. So that's helpful.
Exactly. Right.
What'd you say?
Right, Matthew?
Yeah.
I hear you. Yeah, it disrupts your REM sleep, right? So at that point, you may as well not set an alarm if you're going to do that, or set it later.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like no matter how long I sleep, I always need an alarm, basically, which is quite annoying. But that's kind of the thing I'm trying now to like just get up, don't do snooze, and it's helping quite a bit that I don't feel as almost jet lagged in the morning. And then I try to get out of bed and move somewhere, not just stay in bed, because then you're just gonna feel sleepy.
Yeah.
And then, I do quite a bit of social media in the morning. So I might try to first do something for my studies. But like, for example, this morning, I read a bit in a book that I got from my study advisor about like study skills, because I'm missing those. So I thought I would start the morning off with something that wasn't as heavy as my studies, but at least something that might make me feel a bit productive. So like a good start in the day, basically, but something that isn't as heavy. So
Got
today it worked quite well, I think. So I might continue that.
Great. Great. Matthew, anything you wanted to share about waking up?
Yeah, so I've been very lucky in that because I always, when I was in Europe for my vacation, I ended up staying out really, really late. So my sleep schedule actually didn't change because it was actually so late in the day in Europe that it was about the same with what I would have at home, funny enough. I actually haven't been staying up as late since being home either, which has actually been quite good. Because I'm so used to going to bed at like 3 in the morning during college and then waking up at like 8. But now I'm doing like 12 to 9, which has been really nice to be able to get like, well, 1 to 9. So it's been really nice getting that kind of level of sleep for once. um, the one thing that's been a big minus though is I have been checking social media a lot more than I normally would, because normally I'd just jump straight to class and I wouldn't have time to check until later in the day. But now that I have this kind of free time, I've been getting to a pretty bad habit of checking and just being on there for way longer than I should be. So that's been the big minus. But
What can
it's
you
nice.
do about
I need to get into a routine where I don't do that and that I get straight to work as soon as I get up. I need to create a strong routine with that I don't really have right now. Like I have a routine, but it's way too much of not doing work when I get up. And that could be a big issue.
that?
I'm getting distracted.
Got it. Yeah. So perhaps we can move the phone over to another side of the room or completely out of your room when you wake up. I don't know if you use that for your alarm.
I do right currently. I do use that for my alarm. When I go back and move out all of my stuff from my college apartment next week, I can use an actual alarm clock though.
Okay, good.
That'll actually be good to use.
Great. Awesome. So yeah, it sounds like Christine, you're good with your wake up. Matthew.
For once.
Okay, great. So let's talk about creating a schedule for yourself, okay? So when you're in college, you have these classes during certain times of the day, right? So there's many different ways of you looking at this. But what you can do is take the schedule that you already have for college and put the classes in the time blocks that you have. So you can print out your college schedule if you want. So Christine, when are your classes in the past?
Like I kind of said, I already didn't really adhere to a schedule like I was supposed to. So I don't really have a routine anywhere, basically. So we only have a couple of classes each week, like roughly one a day, basically. But every day is different, kind of. So it's not very structured.
Okay. So for Matthew, you can print out your schedule of your classes and create the work for those classes during that time.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're used to a certain schedule, right? You can do that. That's one way of looking at it, right? So
yeah, definitely.
at the class time, you can study during that time and do work. You can eat afterwards, and you can exercise, like, walk outside, do jumping jacks, do a workout video. I know the gyms are closed. You could use this time and structure some time spending time with family.
Right.
And then another hour block or another 2-hour block, do something fun for yourself to kind of reward yourself for doing work.
Right.
These are all different ideas, Christine, and you can put it into different hours throughout the day.
Yeah.
So A sample schedule could look like this. Can you see that?
Nope.
Nope.
Oh, I didn't share my screen.
Aha.
Ah, so I was talking about keeping and creating structure, right? So we're talking about this, and this could be a sample schedule for you. So this is Thursday, not Wednesday, but so you could set your morning routine. So you wake up, Christine, if you're at 12:30, 1 o'clock, whatever, just, adjust the time.
Mhm.
Matthew, you can put in, even if you don't have a class, you can put in class right there. So you're structuring that time for you to do work for that class or learn something.
Yeah.
So Christine, you have these big classes big exams at the end.
Mhm.
Where do you start in breaking down those things? Do you read a chapter a day from the book? Do you read a couple of pages and outline all the main ideas and maybe types cards of the key terms?
We have web lectures, so all the lectures are recorded. So that's what I'm doing mainly right now. I watch the lectures and then try to make mind maps of them, because I heard that that's a good way to study for ADHD, to like connect different themes. And the idea, sounded quite nice. So I'm trying that right now. But I'm definitely not getting as much work done as I would like, say.
Okay. Got it. So a mind map is amazing. I've used a mind map. I ask and I suggest it to some of my clients. If that works for you, that's great. Another way is just by like bulleting notes, whatever works for you. But that is good for visual learners.
Yeah.
Studying, lunch, walk outside, read something that you've been wanting to read for pleasure, not related to school. Then go back into some sort of class. So for you, Christine, it would be your online lecture, maybe an hour of your webinar, or half an hour of your webinar. I don't know if you can cut it off, mind map, and then come back to it the next day. So add in multiple classes a day, like if you were in a school that was structured. Spend time spend time with family. So if you are coming in close contact with your family, you could do a continuous big 1,000-piece puzzle together. You can watch TV with them. You can do something creative. Use this time to bond with them. Then, do a family dinner if you want, wind down. What that looks like could be different to both of you guys. Shower and do it. So that's just one sample schedule, and we'll come back to it. So you have to set your study conditions. Now that you're home, it's different than if you were away and studying at your dorm or studying in the library. So think about what the best possible place is for you to study and do your work. It looks like both of you have desks in your room. Are those the two places that are best for you?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. What I would do, and I tell my adult clients this all the time, is make sure your desk is clean and organized now that you're home. Because you're going to have to use it a lot, and you want to respect your space, and you want to make it feel comfortable. So if it's a mess, you're not going to want to come and use it. So if you want to take some time today or tomorrow and just really clean up your desk so it's in a space that looks good for you, that could be helpful as well. How are your desks looking?
Okay, definitely. It could use a little bit of cleaning, but for the most part, it's okay.
Yeah, same. It's there's quite some stuff laying around, but it's not like heaps and heaps, just quite a bit of everything, like hand cream and stuff. So would take like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to put away.
Okay, got it. So now that you both are using your desks, when are the best times for you to study? In the morning, in the afternoon, at night, throughout the day?
Usually afternoon or night, I tend to find best. I don't find my brain wakes up very well with mornings and doesn't really, it takes like a couple hours for it to really kickstart. So I tend to find afternoon and evenings to be the best for getting work done.
How about you?
Personally.
Yeah, I'm still quite sure about that. I do feel that I can, yeah, work the best most of the time, kind of at night. But I also feel that just my general, yeah, mood and everything is a lot better if I get more hours of sun or if I see the sun more. So I have like a, yeah, difficult thing of wanting to study at night, but also wanting to get as many daylight hours in as possible, but also needing a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
So right now I stay up quite long, but I'm also not productive in those quite late, but I'm not very productive in those hours. So I'm hoping to get back a little bit at least to like normal schedule. Also because my family is on like a different schedule than me, so I feel like I might be more productive when I'm productive whilst they're also productive and not trying to like work while they're watching TV because then I'm just wanting to watch TV as well.
Understood. Understood. Got it. At your desk, make sure you know what works for you. Is it complete quiet that works for you? Is it a little bit of noise and music that helps you study? What is it? Is there a lot of light, a little bit of light, no light, daylight? Like what? So just think about what's your optimal studying strategy and condition. Do you need to take your medication? If you take medication during college, should you be taking it at home to help you pay attention? And how long does it take for you to get distracted? So if you get distracted after 20 minutes, maybe you need to break up your times of studying into smaller steps and use an app like a Focus Keeper. Focus Keeper is an app that helps you do 25 minutes of studying. And then if the timer will go off, you get a 5-minute break. You study again for 25 minutes, then you do a 5-minute break, and so on and so forth. Okay? So it depends. Sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes you can just, plummet through it. Here are some blank schedules. So I can send you guys this link and you can literally just print these out onto pieces of paper. And what you can do is figure out what time you typically wake up or would like to wake up, block out that time, and then create those different time chunks into your day, Monday through Friday. If you do work on Saturday and Sundays, put it in there as well. So these are just sample schedules that you can use. When you have some fun time or some non-educational, like school time, here's some other things that you can look at. So it is educational, but it's not school specific. Also, Khan Academy and IXL, those are great websites that I'm sure you've heard of before that can help you go through different ways, different subjects if you aren't able to completely understand it from the lectures. So what do you think? Oop, there's another participant.
Oh.
Hi, Jenna. So what do you think would be the best way for you to do a schedule? Like, do you have an agenda book? Do you have, do you like to put things on Google Doc? Do you put things on a piece of paper, on a whiteboard? What's the best way for you to create some sort of schedule?
I think some form of digital would be great for me since I've never had like a proper schedule, proper routine. So it would be nice to have something that's easy to change and switch around to like get my bearings on it basically.
Okay, got it. And what about you, Matthew?
So yeah, we've talked about an agenda book in our sessions before, and how useful that is to have everything written down to really see what's coming up. But I've also used whiteboards in the past that have been really helpful, and also Google Docs as well on occasion.
Yeah, great. So would it be okay if I shared a sample schedule of yours, Matthew?
Sure, go for it.
Okay, awesome. So Matthew and I created a schedule with a study plan for him for this. So why don't you explain, Matthew, how you kind of worked backwards? You kept the end in mind and you worked backwards to figure out what you're going to do every day.
Yeah. So basically, I went class by class, laying out what assignments are due, what is past due, um, and also what meetings I had, and then basically just put them all down and basically try and figure out, okay, if these things are due these days, what time do I have to get each thing done,
Mm-hmm.
and like what time frame am I giving myself to do each thing. So that way, make sure to give myself enough time um, to complete everything because I definitely struggle with that a lot. So
Yeah.
making sure I had something where I knew I needed this amount of time to do this thing, it definitely helps out a lot.
Yeah. So everything that is highlighted, Christine,
Mhm.
are things that are due.
Yeah.
So highlighted in yellow are the things that are due, red are past due, and then the blue are his classes
Okay.
for now.
For
Mm-hmm.
now, yeah.
For now, upcoming
Cool. Yeah.
things to consider are over here. So the week after that. So just
Yeah.
keep in the back of your mind type thing. So
Yeah.
this specifically is just saying what is a definite thing that needs to be worked on every day.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily time blocked. So you can take this schedule one step further and now say, okay, let me go back to this schedule, knowing what I need to do every day. What time am I going to do it? And then how am I going to fill the rest of my day with those other possible suggestions that we spoke about before? What do you think about that?
I like the idea. For me, it would also, I feel like it might help for me to just block some time to study and then have like a list of things I have to study so that I can pick and choose what kind of studying I want to do during that allocated time and not say like 10 a.m. this class, 11 a.m. this class.
Awesome. Awesome. So do you guys want to take this time to work backwards and think about what is due? Like, so you don't know, Christine, necessarily when your test will be, but you do know what the end looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So take that and work backwards to say, okay, I'm going to watch this webinar from this time to this time today, and then I'm going to fill the rest of the day with this. Matthew, for you, you're lucky because you already have this, but now let's work backwards even further and again, take one of these schedules and say, okay, so today in the US on Eastern Standard Time, it's 3:35 p.m. So there's still a lot of time today.
Yeah.
What is going to happen? What will you do? Like what hours are you going to work on this and how? Got it?
Right.
So it doesn't have to be actually printing these out or typing into here. You can make your own thing, Christine and Matthew, digitally on Google Docs or on a calendar online. So I don't know if you have like a Microsoft calendar or a Google calendar or whatever. There's plenty of apps out there. But yeah. So Christine, what is one online calendar tool that you use or would like to use?
I mean, usually I use Outlook, but I don't think it's perfect to make like a daily routine type of schedule. I think it's better for like keeping events. So I think I might try Google Calendar.
Okay. Do you have a Google email address?
Mhm.
Great. So why don't you open that up now in another tab? And Matthew, what will you use?
For creating like a full blown schedule. Um, I kind of want to take my Google Doc that I have now and kind of transform it a bit more so it can be even more organized than what it is. Because I like the base that I have, but if I could add times to it, I think that would be really helpful.
Awesome. So why don't you do that now, and I'll give you guys about 5 to 10 minutes to just get started, to start exploring. Matthew, you already have the Google Doc, so transfer those things into time blocks on your Google Calendar. And Christine, I want you to start thinking about, okay, where am I going with my lessons and
Yeah.
with the classes? So after the time is up, if it's okay with you both, perhaps you can share it. So I don't know if you know how to share your screen, but okay, perfect. And
I don't know, but I saw it somewhere.
okay, I'll explain. And from there, we can compare schedules and see what might work for the other person that perhaps that we didn't think about. Okay? So I'll give you a few minutes to get started on this, maybe into like 3:30
Yeah.
our time. So perhaps 3:45. So 7 minutes. 7 minutes. I'll give you 7 minutes to get.
Okay. Yeah. Um, um, 10 p.m. Let me get a color for this.
I'm going to stop my share so this way, when the time comes, you'll be able to share your screen.
Cool. Let me see, start it. Let's say, Yeah.
4 minutes left.
It probably won't take that long. So. It's 12. Oh. And then same thing. I need to do that. Now let's do the night to relax. Maybe. Feels like a lot.
Couple more minutes, no matter how far you came.
Okay. Yeah, so I think I have a set routine. It seems like I've built in a set routine
Okay.
for like what time frames I can work, which is actually pretty nice.
Okay.
Didn't mean to do that, but it just happened that that's actually not a bad schedule to have.
Is it realistic?
It is actually pretty realistic, yeah. The only thing I might need to account for is maybe more breaks in between. It might be too long of a time frame for me to do all at once.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the only thing I'm a little concerned about. Other than that, I feel like it's realistic.
Okay. All right, so it's about that time. So Matthew, do you want to share your schedule since you started? And then Christine, feel free to share after he's done what you have.
Yeah. So today I plan to work on one of my assignments from 4 to 8. I'm going to try and save this until later in the night just to get like a head start on it tomorrow. Because I've already started work on this one, and so I want to definitely try and get that done today. So if I can get that out of the way, that would be super cool. It seems like based on my schedule that I have a nice routine going, and the meeting times will change just for this week, but at least Monday through Friday, I seem to have a good schedule where I have basically 11 to 12, 12 to 1, or 11 to 1 or so, then breakfast, then like 1 to 3 or 4, then lunch, and then like 4 to 8. So that it gives me time to relax, but also I have a lot of time to work on projects because I know I need a lot of time to do some of these assignments. And then whatever time is left over, because strict deadlines aren't really starting until next week, I can actually get started on stuff ahead of time.
Great. Great. How are you going to hold yourself accountable, Matt?
How am I going to hold myself accountable? It's going to be, the struggle for me is not to get distracted, because that's something I can easily do, especially with like social media. So I think it's just a matter of being logged off of everything and not checking at all until the break's done, and then until the break happens, and then once that break happens, I have to shut everything back down. I cannot turn it back on again. I do notice like sometimes I'll go like a little bit over like my strict times, like 10-15 minutes over. That's okay as long as when I shut it off, I completely shut it off.
Got it. Okay, so you're talking about completely shutting off your phone until breaks.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, awesome. Christine, can you share your screen? And Matthew, you can stop the share.
Yep.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to share because I was trying to find like more info about the stuff I have to do before the exam, so I could actually structure of like what I have to do each day, basically, if I divide it by the days that are left.
Sure.
But the uni website is having some issues, so. What I did do is set a set time for tomorrow to wake up. So maybe this will help me in actually getting up and getting back to like a normal sleeping schedule, basically. And I'm also gonna set an alarm on my phone to go to bed, because usually I just kind of forget, because once my parents are asleep around midnight, suddenly it's 4 a.m. and I don't know how that happened. So setting an alarm is gonna be hopefully a good idea. And what I also, two other things I want to do to hopefully help me in actually doing something for uni is one, a kind of distraction journal, I think is the word. So writing all the things down that you want to do and think about that you have to do while you're studying, because that's I was thinking about this just now, and that's been a huge issue the past couple of days. So
Yeah.
I maybe want to just put everything in there, hopefully, and also take Matthew's idea of actually putting your phone away, not going on Facebook, and all the things I want to check on Facebook, maybe also put in this distraction journal, and then hopefully being able to focus on uni a bit more. And also scheduling a couple of minutes to go outside, like after every hour or so, just take fresh breath of fresh air. That usually helps.
I love that. You're both coming from it from a different angle, and I love it. So Christine, you're talking about how you're going to set your day tomorrow and where you're going to put in breaks. You don't actually have the schedule yet, but you're talking more from like a holistic standpoint. Yeah. And Matthew, you're talking about like the time blocks, which I love. So put the two together and you got a great. How are you guys feeling?
Pretty good.
A little anxious, but overall pretty good.
Okay. So it seems like next week there will probably be more updates on classes, so on and so forth. Would it be helpful if we did something like this again?
Sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And we can kind of see where your schedule went, what worked for you, what was missing, that kind of thing. And if there needs to be any changes for the week after.
Yeah, a bit of accountability always helps.
Exactly. Wonderful. So after this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save the video. Christine, I don't know if you have my email address, but I know that you said that you saw this on Facebook. Mm-hmm. So I will push it out there so you can see the video and you can see the PowerPoint as well. Mm-hmm. Does that work for you?
Yeah, perfect.
And Matthew, you're okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you guys for coming. You both are great. Stay healthy, stay safe, and I will push something out hopefully for next week as well.
Cool.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah, thanks for this.
No problem. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay.
Bye.